have this vivid memory of sitting in the bathtub one time and just crying.
I think I punched my dad once.
You're not in charge of me right now. Like, you just won't leave me alone.
I had an epidural in my back, so I couldn't move very well.
She just wanted me to keep pushing and keep going.
Everybody had one. Like, if you didn't have one, you were looked down upon.
This is a show where teenagers share their experiences growing up in today's world. I'm your host, Dr. RJ, and this is A Teen's Perspective.
Everyone give Julie high fives because she's about to be graduating. She's going to be leaving high school behind. She's going to start her new life outside of home. So what are your plans after graduation?
I'm going to Fairfield U to study nursing.
Nice. Perfect. Now, tell me this, what you've learned so far, because I think you're week 4?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you've learned so far, share with me one thing that you're going to take with you as you leave school, pursue nursing that you believe will be helpful, that you learned in this program.
I think that the confidence aspect will really help me to approach new people because I'm going into a completely new school where I know barely anyone. So it'll just help with that.
Raise your hand if you have experience with this. If you had to go to a brand new school, you didn't know anyone, and you were nervous and scared. Raise your hand. Let me see how many people out there who's been through this process. Okay, awesome. Now, Julia, have you had to do that before in the past?
Just for kindergarten, but that's it.
That was a long time. Yep, that's not going to work, what you did in kindergarten. So that means every other transition, you pretty much knew everyone.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me this. What is scary about meeting new people?
I'm just worried they won't like me.
All right, that's valid. I think that's a valid concern. In fact, most of us, or most humans, we care about what other people think. Now, I will say this. It's a good thing. So I think that's how we grow, right? It would help you to maybe tame yourself in certain situations. So I think there's some positivity from that, but there's also a negative side to it. So my question to you is, you say, I'm worried about what people think. What do you think they're going to think?
I don't know.
All right. See? So you're not even sure. So either there's one or two things. Either she really don't know or she doesn't want to tell us. So I will say this. That's the tricky thing about fear. So anytime we're fearful of something, we make this out to be much bigger than what it could be. Because I'm going to ask you guys this question. You give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Is it possible to know if someone deep down likes you or not? Is it possible? Thumbs up if you think it's possible. Thumbs down if it's not possible. What do you think? So Julia's right. So it's not even possible. The reason why it's not possible is because we cannot read minds. So that means I can talk to you guys, I can laugh with you, I'll be like, oh my gosh, Julie, you're so amazing. But in my head, I can be thinking something completely different. We just don't know. Now, sometimes some signs are obvious, but even then, how can you be sure? How do you know that person's not having a bad day? How do you know that person didn't hear a rumor about you and they had this preconceived notion about you? We don't know. We don't know any of this stuff. So, Julie, I'm coming back to you. If we do not know and we cannot read their minds, tell me what's fearful now. If you would never know, I don't care how great or how terrible, you would never know what someone thinks about you.
I just get really nervous about people talking about me behind my back.
Oh, so have you had experience with that in the past?
Yeah.
Okay, raise your hand if you know for sure. Now you're not guessing, you're not going from hearsay, you know with 100% certain somebody was talking about you behind your back. Oh man, there's a lot of people. All right, so a lot of people have had that experience. So Julie, can you share your experience? How do you know for sure that happened?
I overheard her talking about me.
Oh, you caught her.
She had made a TikTok about me, and another girl that was in the TikTok had sent it to me.
Oh man. So, okay. So you had this experience. Tell me immediately, how did you feel? And then what did you do?
I got really sad and I started crying.
Yeah, that's a normal reaction. Now, tell me, when you started crying, what meaning did you give that? So just so you guys know, oftentimes when you experience an emotion, so sadness, anger, frustration, happiness, joy, it's never the actual event that causes you to feel that way, okay? So for many of you, it wasn't the fact of COVID or homeschooling that caused you to hate school. What causes you to feel a certain way is the interpretation or the meaning you give something. So Julie, I'm gonna come to you again. Tell me, what specifically caused you to feel sad and start crying? What meaning or interpretation did you give that?
I considered her to be one of my best friends. So I felt really betrayed by that.
That's it. Are you guys getting that? So it's the fact that she considered her to be a best friend and she felt betrayed. So that's what made her feel sad. It's like, hey, it wasn't the act of the TikTok. The TikTok is just people on a screen doing something. That didn't make you feel bad. It's like, wait a minute. This is my friend and you broke my trust. Or this is my friend and you stabbed me in the back. Like, how could you do this and I trusted you? So that's what made you feel bad. So you went through your crying. How long did you cry, by the way?
Couple hours.
Okay, so that's 2 hours. And then what caused you to stop crying?
I had talked to my friends about it, and it turned out that this girl was doing similar things to other people. So I don't know, just like I had people there for me, and I knew that I had people there for me because they really proved it. So that made me feel a lot better.
That's it. All right. So this is something cool. See, oftentimes when we experience emotions that we don't enjoy, like sadness, frustration, anger, there's always a window of opportunity that I tell everyone about. So I want you to think through about the last time you were sad. Whenever you're sad or mad or angry, there's always like this moment in time where you have the controls. Okay. So think of it like a video game. So I'm playing a video game, and anytime we are led by our emotions, so let's say, for instance, you're so angry and you're mad. How many of you have said things or did things that you probably wouldn't do? It's because your anger just took over you. So you're stuck in this anger. So anytime you are stuck in any emotion, you literally take your joystick and you put it down on the ground. And then you allow the computer, we call it a computer, but you allow the game itself to play it for you. So you're not even touching the controller. So that's what happens when you are like lost in your emotions. But the cool thing is this. When you're sad, you go through this period, you're feeling sorry for yourself. That's what we all do. So it's not just Julia. We all experience it. We're sad. How can you do this? I can't believe this. Oh my gosh. You're crying. But then there's a window of opportunity where you get a thought that you can change how you feel. So in Julia's case, she either thought to call her friends or her friends thought to call her. Whatever it was, she took some action and then she started talking to her friends. And after talking to her friends, she started to feel better. Now, talking to your friends, feeling better, she said to all of us, the meaning she gave talking to her friends is that, hey, I have people who are there for me, and that made me feel better. And then another thing that made her feel better was the fact that the girl does it to other people. So it's not like personal against me. Are we right on that, Julia?
Yeah, it was a personal attack to me, but I'm not the only one she's done it to, if that makes sense.
Yes, because, hey, raise your hand if you ever felt like misery loves company. Hey, I don't want to be the only one, you know? Like, hey, man, I don't want to be the only one feeling sad right now. Okay, so now that makes sense. So we've had this experience. We've had tons of experiences like this, many of us. Now, the damaging effect of these experiences is that it holds us back for the future, okay? Now, as you go through my program, you're going to learn how to anchor. So raise your hand if you are further enough in the program where you have experienced anchoring. You know the word anchoring. We have a few people. Okay. Yeah. Good. Okay. I see. All right. So in my program, I teach you how to anchor an emotion. But guess what? This process actually happens naturally. So oftentimes we have bad experiences and we attach or we anchor something to that. So in Julia's case, this is in her memory now. This is a dramatic experience. So now that it's hanging around in her head. So it's anchored in her head. And now when she thinks about going and make new friends, guess what the mind always refers back to? That experience. So that's what happens when many of you, some of you like were bullied when you were younger. Some of you, your parents have said mean and cruel things to you. So it's like it's anchored in your head. So as you go and try to meet new friends, you like hold back. You see this oftentimes in dating. So raise your hand if you've dated and you've been cheated on. Let's see. How many people have been cheated? Geez, Julie, you've been cheated on too, man. What's wrong with the people around you, girl? So that often happens when people, look, Kaylin too. She's like, man, I've been cheated on. And Brady too. So that happens. So when you've been cheated on, guess what happens? Your mind experienced something dramatic or drastic. So then it anchors it. Now it's here. So every time you go out and you see someone kind of flirting with you, you know, you like, hey, maybe there's something here. Guess where your mind goes? Right there. And it creates fear. Like, oh, I don't want to get cheated on again. It's not worth it. Like in Julia's case, it's not worth me meeting new friends because all they're going to do is talk about me. Now, the question is this. How do we change that? Because we don't want Julia to spend the rest of her life being afraid to meet people or being afraid to be more open in her relationships. We don't want that. You know why? Because that will hold her back with so much in life. Think about it. That can hold her back with making friends. That can hold her back with growing as a nurse because she could be nervous to talk to people. That can hold her back from gaining a leadership position as a nurse. You know, maybe her work ethic is amazing and they want to move her to management, but it's like, oh, she's not really good with people though. She doesn't really talk to people. So we don't want to have these things to hold us back. Same thing you've been cheated on. If you have this fear and it's holding you back, you may meet someone that's amazing, but you won't give them a shot. So we want to overcome these little anchors that's stuck in our head. So how do we do that? Number one, I'm going to teach you guys something that I want you to remember for the rest of your life. The gateway to your mind. If you want to get inside of your mind, because remember, this is all subconscious. So subconscious means it's on a deeper layer. Like consciously is what you're thinking about now. What you do without thinking, that's your subconscious. That means it's out of your control. Hey, guess what? For all the new people who are joining me for the first time, the cool thing about you being in this program is that I also coach your parents. So I know sometimes your parents can be hard on you, but guess what? After we hang up this call, I'm going to meet with them and I'm going to work with them about things of how they should communicate with you and all that. But my point of sharing this is the gateway into your mind is through questions. That's how you get into the mind. So the subconscious layer, when you're doing things that you don't even know why you're doing it. Like some of you right now are procrastinating and you're not consciously doing it. You just happen to do it. It's like, oh, I don't feel like it. And then, oh, I got to panic. You know, it's finals. So remember, I'm sharing this with your parents. I'm like, listen, it's not even CeCe's fault she procrastinated. It's not Andrew's fault that he's like in a rage. This is happening in the subconscious. So you got to give them some grace. Like, don't be so mad. Don't take away their phones. The way you get into your subconscious is through questions. So Julia, I'm coming back. So what questions can you ask yourself that will literally change what's happening in your subconscious? What do you think?
Well, I'm a pretty logical person, so I sort of think more through scenarios than through questions.
Okay.
I've been more outgoing and reaching out to people because like sitting alone in my house on the weekends is not worth it at all. So it's like the alternative of like possibly getting like my feelings hurt better than trapping myself in my house every night.
Oh, man. So Julia is going deep now because she's really getting into the mind here. Now, Julia says she's logical, but she still asks questions because I guarantee you it may happen on a subconscious level. She's probably in her mind say, okay, she just asked the question. Should I sit here and be miserable or go out and have fun? Potentially, I can get hurt. Which one should I do? So ultimately, even if we're not realizing, we're asking ourselves questions. That the better questions we ask, the better results we get. So Julia asked herself a great question, believe it or not. So the question she asked herself is it better for me to sit here and be miserable or go out and have fun? And she goes out and have fun. So that's a great question. Another question Julia can ask herself, and you guys can do the same, is a simple question like this. Just because something happened in the past doesn't mean it's guaranteed to happen in the future. That simple question is a subconscious question. Like it's actually piercing through the consciousness and going to your subconscious. And even though the question may seem kind of basic, these are the questions you want to ask yourself because it goes into the subconscious because your mind is starting to answer that question. It's like, wait a minute, actually, you're right. There's no guarantee in the future. In fact, I'm not even the same person I am today that I was then. Julia, how long ago did that incident happen?
Last year during April.
Okay, so last April. So ask yourself this question. Are you the same person you were then now, right now? Are you the same exact person?
No.
No way possible. So you've grown, you've learned, you're so much better now. So it's constantly growing. It's like the stock market. You have crashes, but it's still trending in a growth status, okay? So it's still trending, at least for now, for the past, however many years. So that's what's important. So if Julia asked herself that question, like, wait a minute, I'm not even the same person that I was in April. So why would that happen to the new me? So these are questions we want you guys to ask yourself. All right, guys, so give Julia a hand. She's been awesome. High five, Julie. Awesome job. Thank you, Julie, and good luck, because I know you're going to crush it.
Thank you.
All right, so next I'm going to Sarah. So tell me, Sarah, real quick, I want you to rate life today as it is on a rating of like school. So you can give it an A, a B, a C, a F. How would you rate life right now?
I would rate it about a B.
A B. Okay, so why a B?
Because I mean, a lot of good things have happened. I mean, I'm out of school already. I ended on Friday, and I had pretty good grades from not turning in some assignments, but then I ended up getting like A's and B's, so that was pretty good. But then also too, I mean, you do like struggle in life still, but I mean, overall, for me personally, I think it's pretty good.
Okay, so she's giving it a pretty good. All right, so you said you made the word. Let's see. So somebody said this, and I'm only sharing this because it's a compliment. So this person said, tell Sarah she is literally gorgeous. See, I'm sure it took your B to an A. It's a compliment, right? That's a nice compliment. So whoever shared that, thank you for saying that. That was super nice of you to say. I don't want to say your name because then I don't want to embarrass anybody. But no, that was a very nice compliment. So Sarah, you said it's a B, and you said we still have to struggle. So talk to me about the struggle. What is the struggle about?
Just like more, because I just moved to Texas like a couple months ago. So just more starting new schools, and then also losing some of my friends back at my old school just due to like I don't know why, they just got mad at me for whatever reason. So kind of like the example before, just more like losing friendships, and then also just more struggling, just like trying to find friends, knowing if I'm going to fit in my new school. So
got it. Okay, perfect. Like so we all have these experiences. How many of you lost best friends before? Let me see how many people have lost best friends. Yes, a lot of us have lost best friends. Now, Sarah, on a scale 1 to 10, 10 being like extremely disturbing, extremely sad. 1 is like, it's not that big of a deal. 1 to 10, how much sadness did you experience when you lost your friend?
For me, it was a 7, just because it wasn't my main friend, but it was more just because a certain situation was more just her being influenced by this other girl that I didn't like. So it was just more like hard seeing her be influenced by someone else to lose a good friend, but
got it. And now you gave it a 7. How long did this bother you? So how much time?
For probably like 2 months.
Okay, so 2 months, man, yeah. 2 months. Now, Sarah is normal here, okay? So I'm not picking on Sarah, but all of us. So the point of me being a life coach, for all the people who don't know what I do as a life coach, is my job to give you or help you get what you want. In other words, I want you to live the life of your dreams, okay? So if you want A's, I want you to have A's. If you want to be a star basketball player, I want you to be a star basketball player. Because I know that even though, like, I know nothing about cheerleading, but I've helped several cheerleaders make the varsity squad. I know nothing about cheerleading. But what I do know is that all humans struggle with the same things, all of us. Think about it. When you think of the most successful people in life, most people think like, oh, money is the answer. Once I get a lot of money, I'm going to be happy and everything's going to be wonderful. But think about it. Jeff Bezos. How many people know Jeff Bezos? Like the richest man in the world. Do you think when you have that much money that you don't experience all the things that you guys experience? You don't think he experienced frustration, sadness, annoyance, boredom? You don't think he experienced any of that? Well, we know he experiences them. He's human, right? I mean, in fact, he just went through a divorce recently, or not recently. He went through a divorce years ago, but Bill Gates just went through a divorce recently. And I don't care who you are, that's painful, right? He has to go through stress. So we all go through these things. So making the money, having an amazing job is not the answer. It's not how you win life. The way you win life is how well you are at managing your emotions. Because think about it. Sarah spent 2 months sad. Now imagine if we were able to take that 2 months to like an hour. Imagine how freeing and how much more enjoyment those 2 months for Sarah would have been. Now, Sarah, tell me, you're in Texas now. Shout out to the Texans out there because I'm in Texas too. Which city in Texas?
I'm in Frisco right now.
Okay, Frisco. Okay, I'm in Austin, but hey, you're still a Texan. All right, so welcome to Texas.
Thank you.
Oh, man, I'm like looking at the chat now. You have so many compliments here, man. It's like, hey, you're like a celebrity. You're worried about finding friends. I mean, like you have a lot of people like, hey, I want to be your friend.
Thank you.
So yeah, someone will say, hey, can you share your snap? I mean, they want to be your friend on here. See how easy it is to make friends? My point is, so you're in Texas. If everything worked out perfectly, what would need to happen to take your life right now to an A? What do you think?
Probably just, I play hockey, but I have to quit just because of, since I'm really small and I played guys, so just more injury reason wise that I can't play anymore. So if I could play that again, that would really help just get my mind off of everything.
Okay, so you're saying if you could play hockey again, you'd be like, your life would be so amazing for you.
Yes.
Okay, so the question is, what do you need to do to play hockey again?
Nothing right now, so I'm switching to golf. But yeah, It's just more for injury stuff. And I'm kind of okay with this. Just right now, it's just kind of out of nowhere. So
got it. So it just happened.
Yeah.
So let me give you guys a tip here. Remember, how you win life. Holden says you get much respect for hockey. And Jacqueline said, hey, we're literally the same person. Someone else asked, which school are you going to? Man, I wish, hey, you can make easily friends here. I'm telling you, this is the place to make friends. We have like 230 people on this call. So let me give you guys a tip about emotions. Remember, in life, to win the game of life, even as right now as a teenager. So we don't want to think too long term right now. We're thinking right now, how can you take your life right now from a B to an A? It strictly has to do with emotions. It's the way you feel. Because guess what? There is no blueprint. Like whatever Jackson likes is not the same thing as Spencer likes. Whatever Breida likes is not the same thing as Tyler likes. So one person could be like, hey, life would be an 8 simply because you're out of school, Sarah. So, hey, for me, if I'm out of school, life is amazing. But for someone else, it's like, no, I really want to do summer school. I can't wait for school. I love school. It's different for everyone. So it's all about our emotions. And the key I want you guys to understand is emotions are based on what you're focusing on at the moment or in your time frame. Okay. So if you're thinking about, oh man, I lost my best friend, of course you're gonna feel sad. But if you're thinking like, hey, I just moved to a new place and I have the opportunity to make new friends, you can feel excited. Sarah, I can't play hockey. Man, life sucks. But I'm learning a new sport, golf. This may be fun, right? So it's all about what you choose to focus on. So what I recommend to each one of you is this. Try your best to focus on things that make you feel good. And when I'm saying feel good, I'm talking about higher level emotions. These are happiness, excitement, motivation, inspiration, joy, peace. All of these emotions will help you get what you want. It's almost like I was coaching one teenager and it's like, hey, I want to make it to be a top player in basketball. He was like rated number 25 all over the country. He wanted to be in the top 10. So he just came to me and said, okay, how do I get there? Like, what's the strategy? He was thinking basketball. Like, what do I need to do different basketball? But hey, it's not basketball. It has everything to do with how you're feeling every day. If you feel every day like, man, I'm not good enough, or I'm not as good as those guys, guess what happens? That impacts how you play without question. If you're thinking I'm not that smart, it will impact how well you do in school. If you think, hey, I'm worried that somebody's going to talk about me, it's going to impact how easy it is for you to go make friends. Is that making sense, guys? Your emotions are literally the most important thing. It's the most important because anything that you want, like I asked Sarah, hey, what would make life an A? And she's like, oh, golf, making friends, things like that. Well, the way that she's going to get there is if she's feeling good, if she's feeling excited, if she's feeling motivated. If she was like, oh, golf is stupid and my parents are forcing me to do this, then she will not do well in golf. She's going to go in and not really practice, not get excited. But if she's like, no, I don't know much about golf, but this is super exciting, she's going to have a better chance of succeeding. All right. But I want you guys to remember that. Try to pay attention to your emotions. So that's my homework for you guys. Spend the rest of this week paying attention to your emotions. Just think about how you feel. Hey, I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling happy. Just start paying attention to those emotions because that's what's going to help you ultimately get what you want. So great job. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Julia. All the good sports out there. And I will see you guys not next week because it's my birthday. So I'm off on my birthday. All right. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I will see you in 2 weeks. So see you later.
I hope you enjoy listening to the group coaching session. And I also hope that you are able to learn something that would help strengthen the relationship between you and your teenager. Until next time, this is a teen's perspective, helping parents see the future.